Hey Dan, it's Colin. Okay, I got the site. Thanks. Now I'm going to explain some options here because this is the problem mobile view and pictures and text and whatnot is. Obviously, you don't have a lot of room to work with. So let's scrunch this down here. Now the reason why. Now watch the comparison here. Here's the picture, and watch the picture. You see how it resizes at certain points? It gets smaller so it fits in the screen. Now all that is based upon the height, so it keeps the ratio of the image height to width so that it's somewhat still visible. If we actually kept it in an exact ratio of 16 by 9, which is usually what these things sort of go at, what would happen is by the time we get down to a mobile size right here, if we went sort of a rectangular, we'd be about half the height. So probably from the top down to the arrows. I don't know if I'm explaining myself well, but in order to keep things like the image the exact size sort of thing or proportion, as we get smaller across the width here, as it gets smaller, right, the height of the header has to be adjusted as well. Now that works for a certain point, but then what happens, and here's the fine balancing, when we do that, we have two options. We can either have the image size down. If we did that, what's going to happen is the height of the header is going to have to be about the same proportion, or about half as tall as it is right now. And what happens when that happens, obviously, is the amount of room you have for text gets cut off. Now, what I've done in the past, or suggested in the past, is you can actually hide all this stuff for mobile devices at a certain size. You can say, okay, anything less than a tablet, let's just hide this stuff. Let's have maybe the title and let the picture speak for itself. Or you can have the image like you have right here, just do what it's doing, where part of the image shows, right? You don't get the full image, but you get the full text, right? The other option is that it can still be further adjusted. So maybe I'd say get rid of the lines top and bottom, have the text be smaller and up taller or up higher, but it's still, take a look at if we take a look at the actual dimension right here as a guideline, I'll try to get to it right about here. It's right about maybe this size right here, where we're wider than we are taller, right? And we still have the full size of the image right here. But anything lower, and this is like about a tablet on portrait, but as we get smaller and smaller, the picture can only scale down so much. Or what happens is we don't have any room for the text right here to display. So here's option number one: get rid of the text on smaller devices, go with just the title, and that way we can scale the image a little bit better. Right? Option two: leave it the way it is. Um, Option three, and this gets really a little bit on the messy side, but you can change the size and the spacing and the height of the text so that it's smaller or pushed up higher on the page, and resize the height of the header. I can show you how to do that. It's a little bit finicky, but it can be done. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you because you were talking about using a different picture. It wasn't a bad idea, but you still, the overall height of the picture, and this is probably one of the things right here where you have people in the picture, right? And you got a person here, right? Now the other thing is, as you get to a certain width, minimum width, there is a shadow on the left and the right, and at some point in time, those shadows could overtake certain parts of the image in the background. We can get rid of that as well. But I wanted to say, okay, so what sort of options do you want to go with here? Probably the first thing is leave everything the way it is, except for we'll resize the text, the height, and all this sort of stuff in here, get rid of the black, and maybe make the header slightly less tall. So I'd say reduce the height by 2/3 so it'll keep more in proportion of that